Hey, we're doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Okay, we have special guests you might recognize from Undercover Billionaire Season 2. It's Elaine Culotti. She is a self-described lipstick farmer, designer, developer, entrepreneur, sustainable farmer, and badass. Please welcome to the show, Elaine Culotti. How are you?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm so good. I'm so good.
Well, I'm because so you have a house in the Pacific Palisades, and luckily, it didn't burn down. You're one of the only handful of houses that didn't burn down, right?
I have 4 structures that didn't burn down. I'm more than lucky. I can't figure it out.
Meters?
Well, I mean, I was trying to figure out the one street where 3 structures that I built are on, and they're the only ones on the street. You could maybe argue because they're newer and I built them, fire safe, that there was some, building ability that made it work. But I really don't think so. I just think I was lucky. I just think God just kissed me on the head.
So I have you in to talk about the Palisades, and I don't know if you're aware of this. Maybe you are. Wall Street Apes tweeted this out. California Governor Gavin Newsom was caught stealing Los Angeles Pacific Palisades fire donations. Gavin Newsom's Twitter post takes you to a donation page that's secretly Democratic fundraising. Gavin Newsom is knowingly doing this because the page is gavinnewsom.com. It then takes you to a donate, and then, of course, it's managed by Act Blue. Each step Gavin Newsom tells you to take with evidence is provided here. This should be a fraud. And so here it is. This guy actually was the one who found it out. Watch this.
My gosh.
So Gavin Newsom has been caught stealing donations that should be going towards the fire victims for his own personal political fund. Let me show you what I found. So Gavin Newsom put out this website to combat misinformation called CaliforniaFireFacts.com. And when I went to take a look at it, it leads to Gavin Newsom's own website. And there's a place where I could donate. Now, I'm looking closely at this. Look what you're seeing, right? Where is the donations actually going? Now, it says it's supposed to go directly towards the victims, but check out who's managing this fund. Take a look at that, right? Who is processing this money? It's Act Blue. If you don't know what Act Blue is a political PAC for Democratic candidates. So in fact, any money that we donate in this so-called fund, a portion of it is going towards Democratic political campaigns. I didn't want to believe it, but this is our governor. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys soon.
And I think Act Blue is the perfect name because that's all he actually does is he acts blue.
Maybe it's a reference to paint your roof blue so don't catch fire.
Did you guys see the new? He just did a fundraiser with Magic Johnson. I think he's got Washerman and the Dodgers. He raised $100 million. He's going to build back better the Palisades.
Oh, really? So he's relying on private charity.
Yeah, now he's got private. Yeah, he's raised $100 million. 2
Really?
days ago. Yep, LA Times.
Oh,
Jimmy,
where's $100 million?
what's so? I mean that helps, I guess. But
They're
done,
they found Jimmy. They're done. They're all done. There's no.
You mean the politicians are done?
The whole blue thing is over. It's over. People are they just did this huge poll.
Oh, I'm going to show that in a second.
Yeah, it's over. These guys they're just stealing. They're robbing us blind. And Karen Bass is running around with her sidekick. They don't have any money. They have no power because they have no money. So there's no point in even. It's not even worth recalling her. She doesn't. They don't even have enough money to stay in the game.
So we're going to get to Karen Bass in just 1 second. So, they found in loose change in the couch, they found $6 billion that they're like, oh, let's send this to, we forgot we had this and let's send it to Ukraine. $6 billion.
Great.
Wait, whose couch?
Remember they said, they go, oh, it was an accounting error. We found another $6 billion. They sent it to Ukraine. As Joe Rogan pointed out, they could have rebuilt Lahaina. Am I saying that correctly? Lahaina for $5 billion. Just to let you know. But instead, they sent everybody a $700 check. So I wanted to get your opinion on this. Now, we've showed this before. So the big worry is that they're going to come in, rezone, screw it over, give it to certain developers, put high-density housing. So what did you make of this when Gavin Newsom did this and did the shoulder shimmy. Watch this.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii. Who had
First of all, it's suspect to me immediately that he's laughing when he says, I was talking to this other governor who had a fire where they did a land grab. Anyway, and so that's suspect, but watch what he does.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward.
To move those things forward. So what did you think? Now you own 4 different properties in Palisades. What did you think of that?
Well, they've got this LA 2.0 thing that they've been talking about for a long time, and they're under a ton of pressure because of the Olympics. And I think he's just, well, first of all, I don't know what's he doing with his shoulders. The problem for me with Gavin Newsom is I don't understand. I feel like he's just not telling the truth all the time. I mean, he reminds me of like a little kid when you ask him, like, did you take the candy? And they're like, nope. And they have candy on their face. They got candy in their hand. And they're just like, nope. He reminds me of that. So I don't, my best guess is that he doesn't have any idea what he's saying. He's also got Donald Trump's in charge of FEMA. So if we don't have any money, the only way we're going to get any money is from Donald Trump. Donald Trump came here and said, look, I'm going to give you guys money, but I'm going to condition it.
What was the condition? The
conditions were that they turn the water back on, which is a little more complicated than Donald Trump made it, but it's a very good idea.
You mean the water from Northern California?
That's right.
Make it flow.
And the second condition was that we have voter ID. I mean, we want voter ID. Why
Everybody wants voter ID.
Right. And he's like, no. So they got some crazy judge to block that. So now they got $1.2 billion tied up, right? And that's the only money that's coming. And $1.2 billion has got to go through FEMA, then to ECC.
What's ECC?
ECC is like a management company. It's like Emergency Something Control Center.
Okay.
ECC is, so FEMA is just distributes the money. But then it's got to go to a company that works for FEMA that distributes the money. So there's all these layers. And then that company hires the contractors. And they have this thing called a MATOC, which is like mandatory award something or other. It's this document. And that document determines who's going to be the contractors. So you can't just show up there and do what you want to do. And this is happening. They can all talk. Nothing's going to change it. Biden picked those guys.
Okay, so...
Oh, no. Take him down. That guy... So
here's the LA Times headline. In walking tour, LA mayor and recovery czar pledge a revived Pacific Palisades. So do you know who that guy is?
Yeah. Steve Soboroff. I don't.
Steve Soboroff?
Forget it. No, this is...
She's the czar.
I think they intentionally hired somebody that can't help them.
Of course.
Really?
Well, it'll make her look better. It'll make her like, imagine if somebody came in and saved the day. That wouldn't help her. She had to have somebody that can't save the day. That way she see it's such a big problem. Really, the problem is bigger than anything I could have solved anyway.
So, according to Breitbart, the decision was to bring this guy in was made without any consultation with local residents or any process of input from those affected. Oh, thank God. No input from the people affected. That's what we were looking for. Bass appeared in Pacific Palisades on Monday with an unannounced visit together with Chief Recovery Officer Steve Soboroff, whom Bass appointed earlier this month without local consultation.
Wow.
And who had been absent. What do you mean he was absent? Well, according to the Los Angeles Times, they had a community event on Sunday. And multiple Palisades residents asked why Soboroff wasn't there. And they questioned whether the mayor was following his advice. So this joint appearance on Monday, it came after that Sunday where he didn't show up. And their appearance came amid frustrations from residents about rebuilding timelines and questions about Soboroff's responsibilities. And you don't like this guy. So you are a developer, you own properties in the Palisades, and you don't like this Soboroff guy.
It's just you need Tudor Perini, you need like Southland, you need Tish, you need a massive construction company. You need 1,000 pieces of heavy equipment. You're moving 1.6 million trucks of trash. You're talking about $5 billion. It's like, they have no money. They have no power. They have no money. So there's no point. They don't understand the beginning of what it takes to clean it up.
And and you think that she didn't consult with the people of Palisades on purpose?
I think she went to people that are a lot big. I know she went to people that are a lot bigger than that, but nobody wants to get involved because it's a FEMA decision.
Okay.
So you can't really they don't have any power. If you don't have any money, you don't have any power. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
And they hired a consultant.
She can't communicate.
Soboroff and Karen Bass hired a consultant, again, with nobody's input from the Palisades. And Soboroff claimed that the consultant would represent locals despite the complete lack of notice or consultation.
Wow, it's a good thing they paid for a thing you could get for free from all the people showing up to tell you what they need without having to pay a guy to tell you. They get in the middle of that.
Soboroff also suggested that the consultant would control the federal money entering California to deal with the fire debt.
Bingo. There you go.
Yeah.
When it comes in.
So locals have had virtually no input into any of the decisions currently being made by city and state officials. Most were only able to access their property for the first time on Monday after direct intervention by President Donald Trump.
He slated in that meeting.
I saw it. We've covered it.
It was a form of art, I would say. He slayed it. I think the whole thing here with Karen. Just call her Karen.
Yeah, Karen Bass, the mayor of LA.
Karen, right when she got off the airplane and she was stuck in the jetway staring at the glass.
Remember that?
That's like, where's your leadership? You need true leadership. You got guys like, Caruso out there who I think he got 46% of the vote.
Yeah.
And we don't have him.
So Soboroff actually, I don't have it on a slide, but in one of the articles I read, he reached out to Caruso, Soboroff, and asked him for help and for contacts. He asked Caruso.
I believe it, and Caruso probably wouldn't help him. Because Caruso knows the whole system's rigged against the people that are living there. He knows he's got a really savvy way about him. He built a beautiful city. I can't imagine the bleeding that he's going through. I mean, think about it. That whole place, there's nobody there.
Right.
All those tenants, all that construction, it's all new. Yeah, it's not burned down, but
there's no business.
There's no business. I couldn't get a reservation at my favorite restaurant. It's closed. Everything's closed.
So Rick Caruso, who lost his bid for mayor, he's a developer. He developed the Grove, which is right next to where I used to live in Hollywood, and it's wonderful. Right. So if you want to go, to me, as far as an outside shopping experience, it's the best. He has a knack for that, I think. And he has one in the Pacific Palisades, and he hired a private fire department to go make sure that his shopping center didn't burn down. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if a mayor actually hired a fire department to go make sure that the city didn't burn down?
I didn't know that was even a thing until you told me that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
And so people are like angry at him, like, oh my God, oligarch hires his own private. Yeah, it would be a scandal if he was mayor and hired a private fire department to save his own shopping center. But he's not mayor. So what's he supposed to do?
He knew how bad things are.
So he was able to get
protected himself.
He got water trucks. Mm-hmm. Say that he got water trucks up there because he knew the fire hydrants were going to be empty because they drained the reservoir. He knew this. He got water trucks. And so wouldn't it be great if we had a mayor who got water trucks up to the Palisades?
How crazy is it? We have to fend for ourselves. It's just insane to me.
Yep.
The other thing is, you got to ask yourself if he knew, the insurance companies knew. The insurance companies knew because they all pulled out.
Yeah, so he was able to get a fire team up there to save his properties. The insurance companies all pulled out months earlier because they knew a fire was coming.
They all knew.
So the city knew. In fact, by the way, Karen Bass knew a fire was coming. She warned, and then she left the country. Instead of making sure that, hey, let's get those 100 fire trucks that are in the shop right now, let's make sure we get them fixed in the next week because this fire is coming. The winds are coming and let's make sure we get those fixed right now so we have an extra 100 fire trucks. Let's make sure we get that reservoir filled. Let's make sure the fire hydrants that are broken are fixed. They didn't do anything.
You know, because climate change is real. So obviously we'd be preparing for the problems from the climate change we kept bringing up.
Yeah.
I forgot
Like not
climate
needing
change
water.
started this.
It's all about climate change.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't exonerate them if it's climate change at all.
So Bass has faced added pressure since a Friday meeting where President Trump suggested that residents should be able to return to their properties immediately to clear the debris. A representative from the Army Corps of Engineers estimated that removing hazardous waste from burned neighborhoods could take 18 months. 18 months, a timeline that has caused widespread angst. The mayor pledged Monday that the process would be finished as quickly as possible, but noted that the U.S. EPA, which is in charge of the first phase of debris removal, has been unable to provide a specific date for completion.
Are you kidding?
What is
My friend,
she says, what is so difficult for people to understand right now, especially if their place was destroyed, is it's really toxic. It's dangerous for them to be there.
what?
I'm going to go on a big hard no on that.
Do they have buried treasure under their house that they don't want us to know about or something? What it sounds like Scooby-Doo.
People
thing.
are shoveling through their stuff. I noticed yesterday that a friend of mine said she found her safe. And, listen, I'm sure some people do have paint cans in their garage, but generally speaking, people don't carry,
So
It's really toxic.
So we don't think that 18 months is there so that another company can buy all the land cheap that you cannot afford to pay the mortgage on anymore and, just rob you of the entire thing. 18 months, who can afford to pay their mortgage while they also have to live somewhere else? Who can do that, right, Elaine?
I think I think mortgage relief is coming. It better come. It should come. And I hope that it does come. And I think most banks and credit unions want to provide mortgage relief. I think the bigger issue, though, is, if you haven't built in the last 10 years, if you haven't pulled a permit in the last 10 years, if you haven't bought something in the last 10 years, you have no idea what it would cost to replace it. That's things since COVID, the cost of building has doubled. Our supply chain is a shit show. And so if you're faced with having to build, even if it's a smaller home, 2,000 square foot or 3,000 square foot, but there's not many of them in the Palisades,
Right.
Those have all been replaced with huge homes. But let's just say you did have one. You're faced with $1,500 a square foot at a minimum to get a structure up. People don't have that kind of money. Those houses were built at $100 a square foot. So it's really going to be difficult for people that are elderly, people that have inherited homes. They're from 3 generations. It's just, and to add the fact that you want to build low income housing. This is at least in the Palisades, very elite neighborhood. These people pay a lot of property tax, and they're big contributors to our economy here. And it's great to have low-income housing, but where are the kids they can't afford what the backpacks at the school. Like, what are we talking about here?
Hey, we're doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.